Hello everyone, and welcome to Not So Hardcore Anime. If you haven't listened to the introductory episode, it's about 3 minutes long. I recommend having a listen so you know what I'm going to be doing here, you know a little bit about it, and yeah, let's just get straight into it. Today's topic of choice is a very long name to start off with, one of the longest anime names I've encountered so far personally, which is How Heavy Are the Dumbbells You Lift? As I said, it is a very long name, which, for example, my friend introduced me to this. If you've ever listened to Not So Hardcore Gaming on the other channel, you'd recognize the name Blaze. He talks about video games quite a bit. He's on quite a few episodes with me. Hopefully, he'll join me on an anime episode at some point, though I make no promises. But he's introduced me to a couple of different anime series, and this was one of them. It's a one season anime and there's only 12 episodes, which is, it's quite quick, and that's why he recommended it. It's something short, but the theme of it. So this isn't going to be like a flat out review, right? I'm going to say, what I like about it, certain episodes, whatever else. So, it's sort of a laid back vibe. And yeah, so it's something a bit fun. So starting off, the art style for this, I actually really like the art style. It's that cutesy sort of character model type thing, which, as I said, cutesy is the best way to say it. I quite like the way it is drawn, and one of my favorite things about anime is it doesn't have to be really high definition, right? When you watch a lot of real shows, real people acting, that sort of thing, for you to experience it perfectly, you have to watch it in the highest definition, because some of the effects that you have can be so small but add so much, if that makes sense. And the good thing about, as I said, anime and most animated shows, you don't really have to watch it at the highest quality, because there's only so much detail it can have. It's usually 20 to 30 minutes animated for it, so they can't spend hours making it look really grandiose. They can put a hell of a lot of detail into it, and that's a good thing, but it's not as important to watch it at the best quality possible. You can watch it at 720, maybe even 480, and still get the full effect. So that's just one thing I like about anime and anything animated at all, whether it's YouTube videos, whatever else. That's what I quite like about it. But again, to this art style, the character models, it's quite well done, and I very much enjoy it. This as well, and this is further into art style. One of the easiest ways to explain what this is about is fan service. It does a lot of that. It's that everybody likes a bit of fan service. It's risque, tasteful even. And that's a really good thing, and it's something I only see in occasional anime series. It's not overboard. It doesn't cross the line to the H word, I'm not gonna say. But yeah, this does it quite a lot, and well, I am a connoisseur of that, so I don't mind that half as much. What the hell am I talking about? So, that's one of the things. If you want to know basically what it is about, if you couldn't guess by the title, it's all about working out, all set around gym. Well, not a person named Jim, gymnasium, because I know that some people get picky with that. Oh, God. Anyway, there's quite a lot of information to this, which I really enjoy. And it's one of my favorite parts about watching this. I personally am not heavily trained in like educated on it, for so to speak. I know how to exercise in a gym. I know what to do, but I'm not trained. But I am lucky that a friend of mine is a personal trainer. Same person who recommended this anime, Blaze. He actually knows what he's talking about with that, and that's part of why he recommended this series for me. Is it's actually pretty damn informative, and that's not something you often see, and I find it strange because I've never seen an anime which is actually that educational, because a lot of what it says is accurate. It's good advice. It shows you proper form. It shows you a lot of exercises that you can do at home with no equipment or with equipment. There is a lot that goes into it, and that's what really drew me into this. That is such a nice detail. And yeah, it was enjoyable watching it, and because I know enough, because I've been to the gym with Blaze many times, so he's already taught me these things beforehand, I can look at it and say, oh yeah, I actually knew that. And then there are even ones where I thought, hey, that I didn't really know that. So even for someone who has some experience, it can actually show you how to do it. That is such an achievement, I think, for them to actually genuinely be able to say, hey, that works for that. So yeah, it's so difficult to not commend that, because it's just very, very well done. They had to have consulted people who knew what they were talking about, otherwise they couldn't have gotten it right as much. The other thing, and one of my favourite bits about this in general, is this is also a very funny show. And it's funny from two perspectives. One, it's had a few which actually got me choking laughing. Because there were quite a few times I was eating while I was watching, and it would have a joke from it where I'd choke a little bit, and so end up coughing because it surprised me. And that's one thing. Sometimes I can predict a joke they're about to tell when I watch certain shows. This one, a lot of the things I didn't really expect. Because it sort of came out of left field, and that, I think, is one of the best things with comedy, is subverting expectations. I didn't expect a lot of the jokes to happen, or a lot of the funny situations, and it's one of the things that really put this in high esteem for me. And then the other side of it, which is, it is one of my favourite things in any media. Anything, any game I've played, any TV show I've watched, breaking of the fourth wall. That, to me, is such an awesome thing. And whenever I hear a fourth wall break, I get all giddy. I don't know why, but it just is such a cool thing to me. Especially when it is done tactfully. And it's not overly obvious. It's sort of a comment. So, sometimes the fourth wall breaks, they'll talk to the viewer, right? But then other times it will hint at it. It's like, and it's saying, one of the fourth wall breaks is her saying, what is this, fan service? That, to me, that shit's funny. I love that. And this show does it a lot. Which, it's not really in your face. It's not too much. But it is done very well when it breaks the fourth wall. And as I said, every episode does it at least once, but does it well. And that in itself is just such an artistic move. It's one of the many reasons a lot of people like Deadpool, for example, is the fourth wall breaks, the way he talks to the audience and, jokes they'll make. And I like that, as that talking to the audience is the most common form. But for this, it doesn't really talk to the audience much. It does the fourth wall breaking from a different perspective, and I like the way it does it. As I said, it's talking to other characters, offhand comments, whatever else, that is the best kind of fourth wall break to me. It's hinted at it without making it glaringly obvious. And as I said, that to me is probably the best thing about this show, is how well it does it and how often it does it. It's just something I can never look past, ever. I can rave about that all the time, as I said, because it's just such a cool thing. So as I said, these are some of my biggest things that I loved about this anime. It is very informative. It is funny, and it's animated well. The characters are voiced quite well, and I will preface this. I watched dubbed anime, and I have seen some people who were saying, it's not right to watch it dubbed, or it's better to watch subtitles, whatever else. I can't quite agree with that. And before I put my opinion out there too far, you should definitely always enjoy any media you come across in your own way. Whatever you prefer to do is good. Enjoy it exactly how you want to enjoy it. So if you prefer subtitles over dubs, great. My personal preference is I prefer the dub, and the reason is, especially for other shows, and an example I will use now, which is Demon Slayer, an anime I only really watched in this last month or so. There's a lot of visual stuff that goes with it, right? And if you're reading subtitles, you're reading the whole way through, so you can't enjoy the visuals as much. That's why I watch dubbed anime, okay? I hope that sort of makes enough sense to you. And yes, that's why I watch it dubbed. I prefer it to be done that way. And that's just a statement I had to make. But the voice acting for this dub was quite good. Not quite good, it was very good. Emotive. All the characters were emotive. And one of the other things that came from it quite a lot, you've got your personal trainer in it, who he looks like this really slim guy, right? Very slim and tall, lanky, and then he flexes and makes the Rock look small. And what's interesting, his voice intensity changes a little bit when he's flexing. I liked that detail. It could just be me being an idiot and hearing something which isn't as noticeable to other people, but I noticed that and I quite liked the way that was done. And that's just one little detail. All the characters, they have different ways of talking, and the dub, obviously I can't say how accurate it will be, right? When you are translating from a different language to English, sometimes different words will be swapped out. So, it may not be an exact translation. And that's why sometimes, if you watch it dubbed and there are subtitles on, they say two completely different things. So I can't comment onto how accurately it was translated, but that's just a note for you. But what I do know of it, what I have heard of it, was good. It all made sense, and it even would make jokes of that sort of thing. I don't know where I was going with this originally, to be honest. I went down a different lane and lost sight of the other. But the voice acting that I had for it was quite well done. They have the different moods that they go into, their intensity, especially for it. Some of them are real cutesy and otherwise, but then they go really intense when they're focused. And that's also a good detail, because when you're in the gym, it does change. When you are in the middle of a hard pump, your voice will change. You're more forceful with your voice, that sort of thing. It does change, and it changes well for those characters. You hear the struggle. The struggle is real. It's well done for me. I loved that detail. And as that sort of, when you think about it, you're like, oh yeah, but they couldn't have it any other way. And yeah, it wouldn't be right if they didn't do that. But the fact that they did do it was a nice detail, if that makes sense. It's the two perspectives, so I liked that part of it. It was just such a nice detail, because I've been in the gym for last year or so. I've been going to the gym very regularly, and I've noticed that as well. The intensity, you get fired up. That's how you get a good pump. And with this, they do that as it's intensity. It's high energy and very well done. And moving on from the voice acting as well, one thing that actually shocked me about this, the theme songs. I like a good theme song, right? And for certain anime series that I have watched, I'm like, hey, that's not too bad. But a lot of them, I'll listen to it once or twice and then skip it, right? This one, I never skipped the intro music or the outro music. Because it's high energy, it is boppy, it is fun. I would find myself dancing along to it because it's so well made. And that is one thing that surprised me. As I said, there's 12 episodes, so you're listening to the intro song 12 times and the outro song 11 times because the final episode changes it. But you think you'd get tired of them after a while, but I never did. I was bopping along to them every time, never skipped it once. That surprised me. Few other things can do that. Some of them I will watch and enjoy quite a bit, but then after a while I'll skip it. This, I never wanted to skip because I was enjoying it so much. So that alone is very impressive. Very, very well done. And I'll go into... I know there are a lot of things I'm saying now which are minor details, but minor details can be quite good. And one detail when it comes to the theme songs as well, there are two things that I'll go to. But first of all, the end of the episode. It's one of the right at the end of the outro music. It has them saying, always have protein 30 minutes after a workout, right? That, I think, was really good because that is one thing that Blaze, personal trainer, that is one thing he drilled into my head early on. When I was first going to the gym, I would be sore for a while because I wasn't getting enough protein, and he's sitting there, eat your goddamn protein, drilling that into my head. And so when I noticed that, I'm like, hey, that's really good advice. If I had seen that before I ever went to the gym, that would have been in my mind. It's for people who aren't experienced in it, that's the last thing you hear. You're like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. I guess you have to be reading the subtitles because it has subtitles for the intro and outro music. So it's in Japanese when he says that. I believe it's Japanese. But, it's sort of... It's still there. And that brings me to another detail which I loved about it is it blends the two languages. Some of the theme songs will be in Japanese, others will be in English. And it sort of swaps just a little bit. And that to me, to be honest, I don't entirely know why it happens, right? I can't fully explain it to you, but I love that it does happen. And this blends it quite well. So the theme song is some in English, some in Japanese. It works. It works surprisingly well. That's most of what I can say about this anime. This is one, when I was first suggested to me, I thought, no, I'm not sure I'm going to enjoy that. But by the end of it, I thought, this is really good. And it ended up becoming a sleeper hit for me. At first, I was like, okay, that sounds a bit weird, but I really got into it. And I found by the end, on the 12th episode, I was sad that there was no more to watch. I don't know if there's going to be a season 2. I hope there will be, but I just have no information to go off of yet. If there is a second season, you can bet your ass I'm going to be talking about it in the future. Absolutely. And that's most of what I have to say for this. It was an experience, and I really, really enjoyed it, and I greatly recommend it. I genuinely can't think of anything that takes away from this. And yeah, I love to focus on what I love about a game, right? Or a game. Sorry, I'm still in gamer mode. About anything I watch, even movies, music, I will focus on the good parts of it where I can, because that's just in my nature, if you focus on the good, you're going to be happy. If you focus on the bad, you're not going to be happy. So I will often, if I think, oh, that's not right, it goes in my mind, then it clicks disappeared, and I'll never think of it again. So I cannot think of anything I didn't like about this show. I so greatly recommend watching it because it is fun to watch. It is surprisingly educational, and it's got some fan service for the guys, and, well, for everyone, really. Everybody loves a bit of fan service. That's everything to say. Thank you for joining me for episode 1 of Not So Hardcore Anime, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.